Alright, in this video I'm going to be demonstrating a type of loop that's in Java called a for loop. So I'm going to show you a super simple one, how it works and the parts of it and how everything functions in it. And then I'll modify it a little bit and make it a little bit more advanced. It's a pretty simple loop, so it's really not hard to understand. So let's get started. We're going to go to File and then New Project, and I'm doing this in NetBeans, but you can use whatever you'd like. You can use Eclipse or whatever you have. It's fine. For me, I'm going to click Next, and I'm going to call this thing for loop example. That's my project name. All right, so I'm just going to get rid of these default comments that come in with NetBeans. And then what I'm going to do is this. First thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to print out a message to the user. So println, this is for your print. And just say something like, this is a demo of the for loop. Something simple like that. And now what I want to do is I'm going to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Numbers from 1 to 10. Oops, I don't need a semicolon on the comment. So what I would normally do is, if I didn't know about loops, what I would have to do is this, right? I would have to write 1, and then I would copy this line, right? Paste it a bunch of times. Oops. Forgot to enter on these. Right, and I have to do this 2, 3, 4. This is not a good fix. 1 to 10 is not really an issue, but what if I asked you to print out 1 to 10,000? You wouldn't be able to do this, right? So a loop solves that problem. This is a very repetitive statement running here, so we can use a loop and put it inside a loop, and we can make it run over and over and over again with basically 2 lines of code. So let's get started. I'll show you what to do here. Okay, so I'm going to write the loop first, and I'll explain it after how it works. For int I equals 0, I less than equal to 10, and I plus plus. Oops, sorry, I want 1, not 0. I'm going to put a curly bracket at the end here, and what I'm going to do inside of the loop is I'm going to write println, and I'm going to put I. Just like that. I'm going to run it and make sure it works, and then I'll explain what's happening in this. So we got a loop, goes 1 to 10, exactly what I wanted. Perfect. Okay, so we got 3 parts to a for loop here. Well, the first one is just write the word for, okay? Now, the first major section, though, is right here. This is before that first semicolon. This is the initialization part, so it tells the loop where are we starting. So in my case, I've created an int variable called I, and I is just going to be like a little counter variable. And I've set it to a value of 1. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. I have this variable I start off at 1. The middle part is where does the loop end? So you have to sort of imagine the word while in front of it. So imagine I'm thinking, keep looping while I is less than or equal to 10. So keep going while the I is less than or equal to 10. That's what I want to happen in my loop. The third part is this I plus plus thing. What this is this is my incrementer. This is how I get from 1 to 10. Now I plus plus, this is a short form in coding, and it basically makes the I value go up by 1. So it becomes a 2, then it becomes a 3, and it becomes a 4. So some of you, if you're new to coding, you might not know this, but in most languages, if you have something like I plus plus, what that actually means, it means I equals I plus 1. It's a short form. This kind of a line right here, I equals I plus 1, is so common in coding, and programmers inherently are very lazy people. They don't want to keep typing this over and over and over again, right? So they came up with a short form that's just I plus plus with a semicolon. Sorry, I missed a semicolon there. That replaces it, so you can do it with less characters and it's a little bit quicker to write. So that's what's happening in this loop. I'm creating a variable called I. I'm setting it equal to 1. I'm going to keep looping while the I is less than or equal to 10. And the way I'm going to get there is I'm going to keep incrementing it by 1 with this I plus plus. And inside the loop, all I do is print out that variable I. So that's how we get the 1 to 10. Now you can change it. If you want to go up to 100, no problem. Go to 100. Okay, so you get all the way up to 100. If you want to start it at 50, you start it at 50. So my first one is a 50 this time. So you can play around with these numbers. Most loops, I know the one I just started was a 1, but honestly most loops start at 0. So you would do like something like this: start at 0, I less than 100. That gets you to 99. Should say 0 to 99. This is the most common type of loop. They usually start at 0, and there's a lot of reasons why they often start at 0. It has to do with index values of arrays and character positions and things like that. But as long as you understand how the loop works, that's what's important. So it starts off at this number, and it keeps going while this condition is true. So while I is less than 100. Now, what if you want to go backwards? So to go backwards, I could do something like this. Honestly, right now, I'm just going to put in a bunch of dashes just to clean up the output. Let's replace this back with a 1 again and a 10. Just make sure it goes 1 to 10 again and throws in a bunch of lines. Okay. Now, let's go backwards. So backwards for loop might look like this. Int I equals 10, I greater than equal to 1, I minus minus, and then system out println. We'll do the I again. Okay, let's see if this works, and then I'll explain that loop again. Went from 10 down to 1. Perfect. So again, my second version of this loop here, I've created this variable I again. See, the thing is, I is only visible between this bracket and this bracket, so I can actually reuse the I variable here, which is kind of nice. So I've created this new I. I've started off at 10. I'm going to keep looping while I is greater than or equal to 1. So as long as the I is bigger than or equal to 1, just keep looping. Now I minus minus, that is short for I equals I minus 1. It's a short form. It makes it go down by 1 is what it does. Okay, and then I go ahead and print it. So this is the for loop that will work perfectly for me. So it goes up to 10. Sorry, it should go up to 10. I was going up to 9. Go up to 10, and then from 10 down to 1. And that's it. That's all there is to it. So there's two versions of a for loop for you. Again, the three things to remember. The first piece is where does the loop start? Second piece, where does the loop end? And the third piece is how do you get there? And so this is a very quick demo of using a for loop in Java.